And now, Escaping the Drift, the show designed to get you from where you are to where you want to be. I'm John Gafford, and I have a knack for getting extraordinary achievers to drop their secrets to help you on a path to greatness. So stop drifting along, escape the drift, and it's time to start right now. Back again for another episode of Escaping the Drift, man, the show that gets you from where you are to where you want to be. And today, man, this is a weird show for me. It's a weird show because it's something I don't want to do. It's something I feel I have to do. It's not necessarily like a public warning. It's not trying to encourage you not to use this particular business. It's just something that if I would have known this stuff that I'm going to tell you guys today, prior to doing this, I probably would not have done it. And again, I'm sure there's wonderful things about this business. I just want to tell you my personal experience with said business so we can go forward. And that business is the 10X health system. And the thing that you see owned by Gary Brecka, again, dude, so much of what this guy says, I really like. There's a lot of his protocol that we have instituted into our daily life. And then when I finally decided to go all in with the 10X health system and get it done, I want to just share my experience with you. And again, not to dissuade you from using this business, because I'm not that big of a dick where I want to see somebody fail. But again, I think you should just kind of go into it with some eyes open of some things. And in the studio today with us today, one of my dear friends that actually helped me sort through the mess of this after gone and is helping me going on, and we're going to talk about what you can do, is Dr. John Beadle in the studio with us today. Pull that mic a little closer. So we go live. What's up, Beedle?
How we doing, everybody? Thank you so much for having me.
You bet, dude. So first of all, I'm going to walk you through my story with 10X Health, and then we'll kind of get to you and talk about what we're doing and how that goes forward. Absolutely. And some problems that I see with what happened here. So like a lot of you guys, so my friend Sean Kelly also has a podcast out there. Love Sean. And I saw that he had Gary Brecka on, and I was like, cool. I'm like, us ranking in the top 20 for entrepreneurship and being pretty good. I thought maybe I could get Gary Brecka on as well. Started kind of reaching out. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do this a better way. Instead of trying to cold call him to come on the podcast, I want to kind of go through the process of what his system is, fall in love with it, because I don't like to endorse products on here that I don't really know about or I don't love. I don't like to do that. If I'm going to tell you something's good, I'm going to tell you it's good because it is good. So I said, I'm going to sign up for 10X Health. So I got from Sean, who had gone through it, I got the name of the person over there to set it up. And I went all in, and they said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to do the blood test and I want to do the gene test. And for those two tests, it was north of $1,200. So as soon as I signed up, very, very quickly, a local person here that was really nice, she was great, came right to the office, took my blood, took the swab, signed off the forms. This was inside of maybe 3 or 4 days of getting this done. And she said, yep, here's what's going to happen. You'll be up. Your portal will be ready. You can see what's kind of going on. And then from there, the doctors will be in touch with you, and that's how it goes. And I said, okay. Now, I don't know what my expectation was as far as, dealing with Gary Brecka or Dr. Gary. I don't know if it's Dr. Gary Brecka. We'll just call him.
I still have no idea.
I don't know. Yeah, we're going to call him Dr. We'll call him Gary Brecka because I don't know if he's a doctor. I don't want to misspeak. But I kind of thought, here I am. I've got referred by this guy. You're on this podcast. I got a big podcast. I assumed I was going to talk. I was going to assume I would be dealing with him. I would get to talk to him. I would know. In my opinion, unless you are someone that has incredible reach, more than a top 20 podcast on Apple, and has $1 billion like Dana White, you're not going to talk to Gary.
Correct.
You're not going to talk to him. You're never going to talk to the guy. So going into it, just understand you're not going to talk to that guy. Now, he may have the people that work underneath him, the people that he's trained, may be equally as versed in everything that he is. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm just going to say, if your that was my fault. That was my number one ruined expectation off the bat was I thought I was going to get to talk to him. You hear Dana White, the guy saved my life. He turned everything around. I'm like, man, this is going to be great. And then, nope, you're never going to get to talk to
Crickets.
him. That's not how this works. You're going to talk to one of the other people. So I'm like, okay. So I start waiting. And you're talking about a really long time. I mean, this became weeks, became into months, and they give you a portal to log into. And I'm checking my portal every single day. Every single day I'm checking my portal. Every day I'm checking my portal. My results come back. My results come back. Every day I'm looking. And they don't come back. And then one magical day, Beadle, one magical day my results come in. Now, granted, how this is supposed to work, I guess, is when your results come in, then you schedule a time to speak with a provider, which at the time that my results came in, and I'm going to explain to you why I immediately wanted to talk to a provider. They say that scheduling can take weeks, if not up to a month, to get to talk to somebody.
You've already waited weeks.
Now, when I got my results, and I have them on my hand here, I look back, they all look pretty normal. Like there's some things that you obviously, I can read this. It's not that complicated as far as what you need. But then as I'm flipping through this thing, I get to this page on the back, which says, now how they do this, I don't know if you can see this. I'm gonna go in the 2-shot here and see if you can see how they do this. But if you're looking at this online, it's really just kind of a graph where over here on the left is low or a certain number, and then it gets red or whatever. There's green, yellow, red, just like a stoplight would be. And there's like a little graph with a little number on it based on wherever you fall with whatever you're doing. Well, when I got to this liver page, right? All of my other results on this were pretty normal in the green, maybe a couple maybe a little bit on the yellow, but this liver thing that said ALT SGPT said 57 UIL, and it was through the roof high, right? On their little chart, it's all the way off the end of the chart in the red. So me being me, I'm like, I want to talk to somebody about this right now. What does it mean? So when you can't talk to a provider, what do we all do? We go to Dr. Google. And Dr. Google told me that I had liver cancer.
Yes.
It's what Dr.
You're cooked.
It's what Dr.
2 days to live.
Dr. Google tells me I have liver cancer. I am freaking out. I'm freaking out. I'm calling them. I'm saying, I need to talk to somebody right away about this. Of which the response that I got from these guys, which understand your schedule, understand you're a marketing machine, understand you have a gazillion people doing this. Probably at this point, they gave me the right advice, which is if you are concerned about any of your tests, you need to contact a local health provider. So I immediately call and book some favors to try to get into a liver doctor. I guess a urologist, whoever went and saw, whoever this was, freaking out, thinking I have liver cancer. Like, holy shit, I need an MRI today. I need whatever. I need a CAT scan. I need something. I need something. Yes, I need chemo today because I'm going to die. I go in with these results in hand and the doctor looks at it and they go, this is not like 57 IU per liter. You could have had a drink 2 days before and spiked it like this.
Absolutely.
Like one drink would have done this.
Yep. Yeah. Within one drink, actually within 48 hours could have spiked that, or even excessive exercise.
Yeah. So immediately I'm freaking out, right? I'm like, so here I went through 48 hours of thinking I had liver cancer to now the way that this is written, like literally I could have just had one drink and been fine.
Yep.
So now I'm immediately I'm kind of like, you know what? Maybe this is not for me. So I immediately called the person that was in charge of me in the get-go, and it kind of explained my situation to them about what happened. And they were very nice again. And still my genetic test not back. And they're telling me that because, and the answer that I got from them was because their business had blown up so much, they personally had put the labs so far behind with what they're doing. And that one statement kind of stuck with me because I agree with that statement. And I think anytime that you have a business that grows so virally, so quickly, the way that he has, and I mean, dude, when you got Dana White, who looks fantastic, and I'm saying that everything they did for him absolutely worked. But yet everybody that could afford, $1,250 for these tests, probably me included, jumping on the bandwagon, I just don't believe they had the infrastructure at the time to facilitate this. Right? So they begged me and they said, okay, listen, we get it. Would you be willing to at least meet with somebody who's great to go over this stuff and hear about it? Now, in the meantime, I have also, and I look back, it was on January 15th, called you, and we'll get into who you are in just a second and why you're capable of reading this stuff. I said, would you look at some blood tests for me? Would you look at some blood work for me? And you looked at it immediately, and I called you, and you started making a bunch of recommendations, and you said, we're going to do all this, blah, 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 blah. I said, okay, cool. So when I got on the phone, how they do it is a two-step process. They have the doctor person, we'll say, and then they got the closer. right?
The honey potter.
Yeah. So you got the doctor person, then the closer person. So they get me on with the doctor person who essentially tells me the same exact stuff that you did. There was nothing different than what they told me about these test results than what you told me. Nothing different. With the exception of saying that going on some form of like semaglutide or one of those would accelerate some weight loss. It's the only thing you did not say that they did. All right. Then you get on the phone with the roper, I guess he is, the closer, who's the med closer, right, and starts laying out your supplement plan. Now, keep in mind, I've been on, I'm 52 years old. There's no shame in my game. I've been on testosterone replacement therapy for years. It's what you do. Right. It's how we keep our manliness. Now, don't judge me. It's what you do. If you're not on it yet, keep laughing. You will be. So I've been paying for this stuff forever. I already know what this stuff costs. And the 10X for me and 10X Health was the cost of these supplements. It was 10X more expensive than anything else that I have ever seen or taken or what I could get elsewhere. And I think some of that, again, not saying it doesn't work. I love the protocol with the EWAT training, the red light therapy, and the grounding mat. I have all of that stuff. Because I saw Gary Brecka talk about it. I did not purchase any of it from them because I found it all exponentially less expensive somewhere else.
It's like going to Walmart or Target.
Yes, 100%. Well, no, it's like going to Saks or going to Walmart is the difference, right? Again, so if you're going to go into this, if the things that I wish somebody would have told me, again, not bashing this business, that I'm sure they do great things. You see they do great things. But if somebody would have told me up front, it's going to take a really long time to get your blood work back. It's going to take a really long time for you to schedule with somebody. Supplements are going to be really expensive, and you're never going to talk to Gary Brecka. I don't know that I would have done this. Right? So what am I doing instead, and what can you do? And that's 10 minutes of that. And again, there's probably people out here that I know, I have friends of mine that are disciples of this thing. I have friends of mine that deal with Gary Brecka that are great. I don't need to hear it. I get it. I'm just saying the average Joe's experience is probably going to be closer to mine than what the billionaire experience is. I don't know. I'm not saying that. I'm not here to bash them. But my point is there's lots of things you can do for anti-aging, for hormone replacement, for things to help yourself. And you can find somebody in your local market that understands this stuff, that knows how to do this stuff and can get you right, and can get you right on a much more personal basis than a national company that is just hammering the gram every day with marketing. Every day. So enter Dr. John Beadle. You got to speak up, Beadle, so they can hear you. You got to speak with force, so people are going to only hear me and not hear you.
You got it,
Dr.
brother.
John Beadle. So you're my guy here locally. I want to talk about your background a little bit, talk about how you got into this, your experience, and then we'll go from there. So let's talk about you, my man.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to talk about that. So a little bit about me. So I'm a chiropractic physician. Okay. While I was in chiropractic school, my dad was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Okay. And I watched that process of him going into the hospital. I was there with him. So for type 2 diabetes, what we look at in medicine is polyuria, dysphagia, and then we look at labs, right? So, and he had fructosuria, where his pee was like maple syrupy and it smelled fruity, right? Excessive thirst, everything. So we go in and I'm like, Dad, you're urinating like over 12 times a day, right? You have excessive thirst. You are eating, your diet is just not on point. And granted, I'm from small town Wyoming, right? So like, I'm not kidding. Like, he had no idea that getting a chicken sandwich from McDonald's wasn't fast food because it wasn't a cheeseburger and fries. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was that was the healthy side of the menu.
Yeah. Or like getting a salad from Wendy's that's covered in dressing, but so with a soda. You see what I'm saying? Like, or getting biscuits and gravies from Carl's Jr. He didn't understand that wasn't fast food. And that's crazy because it's such a huge portion of the population don't really understand that, right? So we go to the hospital. He gets his blood work done. I go in with him because I'm like, there's just something not right here. And the doctor goes, Dave, your glucose is a little high, right? Your liver enzymes, they're right borderline. I think just take this booklet and do some nutrition. I go, wait a second, he's dyslexic. Like, and that's in his medical notes. This man is dyslexic and you're giving him a nutrition booklet.
To read.
It might as well be in Chinese. It doesn't matter.
It's like you're deaf. Here's an audiobook.
He can't, exactly. He can't read it. So I'm like, what else can we do for him? And this is me just his kid at the time. So I'm like, I still like, I don't want to speak over a medical provider, but I'm also like, there's something wrong here, right? And your lab results, yeah, they might not fit the model based off of insurance. And that's a whole nother topic that we could talk about. But so they send him home.
You know what, Beedle, I hate to cut you off, but I got to say something before I forget to say it that I did not say about 10X Health. I did ask for a full refund on this, and they refunded me half my money for the blood test, and then I bumped them again, just reminding, saying, hey, I didn't get the full refund. They did refund all of my money. So they were good about that. I'm so sorry right in the middle of that story, but I just felt, I hate to do a business dirty like that without saying 100% of the story that happened. So they did refund all my money. Right. Sorry. Back to Dad's glucose.
No, but you know what? Like going off what you just said, like this is going to enhance either their product or enhance people's experience with either finding someone locally, right? So it's not bashing. This is just business, right? And it's just talking about our experience, right? And it's no hard, no foul with them, right? But so with my dad, right? So gets his lab results back. We leave and he's like, well, doctor said I'm good. And I'm like, if you're good, why the fuck would you go to the doctor? Sorry if I don't know if I'm cussing.
No, you're good. Yeah,
I'm a normal person. I've got tattoos. I cuss. I'm the most unprofessional professional
you're
ever going to meet. Okay. So I'm like, if you were fine, why the hell did we go there? I said, something's not right here. Right. And then, so I go back to school. I get a phone call. Oh yeah. So 6 months later, yep, John, they diagnosed me with type 2 diabetes. And I'm like, dude, you had all the symptoms of type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
You should have been on top, like nutrition, lifestyle modification, all these things should have been addressed on it. But again, well, the doctor didn't say that. So fast forward, it took my dad 4 years to die from type 2 diabetes, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, cirrhosis, dialysis, gangrene, losing half his leg, death, right?
Oh my God.
Type 2 diabetes. Right now in America, I think I just read the statistic. There was a study done, I believe, in 2021. Out of 10 Americans, 6 out of 10 have one autoimmunity. 4 out of 10 have more than one. How crazy is that?
Are you of the agreement of Robert F. Kennedy that our food is killing us?
I think that it's more than just our food. I think it's kind of the whole system, man. Because when you think about it, again, let's use the medical system, the insurance-based model with my dad. Oh, he didn't fit the criteria. Man, I've had patients that have had their gallbladder functioning at 35% and they won't do anything until it's at 33% functioning.
Oh my gosh.
You see what I'm saying? So it's all numbers, and we're being told by people that don't necessarily practice medicine in these insurance companies what we're approved for. And this kind of ties in with this whole situation. I love the concept of what Gary Brecka does. However, it's really powerful marketing. You have 10X and Grant Cardone backing you up. Holy shit. Yeah, of course people want to do that, right? Everyone wants to have the nicest things. I don't care who you are. People say, I don't care about material things. Well, you care about a good experience regardless. People want to have a good experience. So if they want to, whether it's a Bentley or they want to see Gary Brecka, they want to have the nicest experience because as humans, that's just what we want, right? Mm-hmm. So people go see this marketing scheme and everything like that. And with my dad, that just flipped a switch on me. I was like, okay, sports and chiropractic are really cool, right? I want to learn more about medicine. So then I did a deep dive into seeing what I can do as a chiropractic physician with my scope of practice. So chiropractors, we're underneath federal law, we are licensed as physicians, right? Certain states, we're primary care providers. Certain states, I could deliver babies. God forbid, I would never do that and did not have enough training in that. But if you did, cool, more power to you if you want to do that.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And in a lot of states, we're allowed to order blood work. Blood, urine, stool, hair, saliva testing. We just can't do full diagnosis. Now, there's some practitioners out there that I think, just like any business, there's good janitors and bad janitors, right? There's good doctors and there's bad doctors, right? People have good experiences and bad experiences. It's all about where are you at with your ego and what are you comfortable with doing? And are you comfortable with referring out?
Well, I think too, but before anybody, listens to this and wants to say, oh, he's a chiropractor, this guy's always talking about, okay, you spend a lot of time around some of the best athletes literally on the planet.
Yes. So kind of getting into that, right? So I know I get the chiropractic card all the time. And then when people talk to me, they're like, oh, you are not what I think.
Yeah,
I actually trust you more than my primary care.
A little more to the old story there than this. A little more to the story.
Yeah. So a little bit on my background. Went to Northwestern Health Science University in Minneapolis. It's the most medically sound chiropractic school in the United States. We have MDs teaching us, DOs teaching us, PTs teaching us, registered dietitians, naturopaths, people that are in the field where we need to be learning from, not a chiropractor that didn't really make it out in the field. And then it's like, okay, I passed infectious disease. I could teach these chiropractors. We didn't have that.
Right.
You're being taught by an infectious disease provider, infectious disease. Right. So that's why I chose the school that I went to, because I didn't want to have, I guess, that stigma, but it follows you everywhere. And whoever wants to listen and have their opinion, that's totally fine. But so being a ex-professional athlete, right, and a college athlete, I always had, you get nice things when you're an athlete in America, right? Mm-hmm. So after I was in chiropractic school, I was like, okay, I want to make sure I fully submerge into this experience of functional medicine and just medicine in general. So I interned down at the Salvation Army in downtown Minneapolis. And let me tell you, working in Summerlin is way easier than working in downtown Minneapolis, right? You see everything, right? From homeless people to, my wife, this is a funny story off topic, but she used to treat this guy for 3 months straight. And in this clinic, you could tell me your name is Bob Marley. I couldn't question it. She treated this guy. He was wanted for murder for murdering his 5 kids in Missouri. And she'd been treating him for 3 months. She goes to adjust him. 5 U.S. Marshals walk in and they're like, you're under arrest. And she goes, what did I do? And it's this guy, right? Gosh. So it's wild stuff. And then interning, in hospitals, right? I spend a lot of time in the hospital system because I want to know when I need to refer out. And I want to know when it's okay to keep this person out of the hospital system. Because when you go to the hospital system, what's the biggest problem right now that people are experiencing? Well, my doctor said I'm fine. I don't feel fine. Or they leave unhappy and then they wait months, weeks to get into this appointment just to see this practitioner for 7 minutes just to say, no, you're good. Okay, I'm going to send you somewhere else. Then you wait 2 to 3 more months. I'm like, what the hell are we doing here? Right. Yeah. So that's what kind of got me into functional medicine. So in chiropractic school, I did an additional 300-hour diplomate to learn about blood chemistry, nutrition, testing, everything, right? So I did that. So when I graduated from chiropractic college, I was fully ready to go, right? I had my certificates and I had my degree. And then I wanted to find a state where I could practice to the fullest of my ability and my scope. Mm-hmm. So then I just graduated. I did the AFMCP through the Institute of Functional Medicine, which is with Dr. Mark Hyman and a bunch of old school functional medicine practitioners. It's like one of the gold standards of functional medicine, that in Functional Medicine University. So that's really what got me into blood work, right? I had that family experience. And then I had, right after my dad passed away, my brother Davey passed away 6 months after from alcoholism.
Oh, man.
And my brother Davey's system, that was all lifestyle modifications and people needing to listen to him, right? Like, you just never know. There's some things that you can actually do that could change someone's life in a second by just having more time to sit and listen to the patient, right? If someone could have spent more time listening to him, could have been like, okay, I don't think rehab is the best thing for you. I think you might need therapy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Finding that right network, but you have to have the time to treat these people, right? And that's the thing. So going back to kind of the 10X system, again, it's a great model. It's really, really hard for the general public to do that. And there's a lot of providers out there that do work just like that.
Yeah.
Right. So at a fraction of the cost.
But when you started working, you worked at Dragon's Lair, which for those of you that don't know what Dragon's Lair is, if you're in Vegas, you know what it is. Dragon's Lair is Flex Lewis's gym. And who's Flex?
Flex Lewis is basically the Tom Brady of bodybuilding. He's 7-time Mr. Olympia.
And that's his gym.
Yes. So I worked at the Dragon's Lair right when they first opened up. Love Flex, love Justin Dees, all those guys. They're amazing people. I've worked on just about every single Olympian bodybuilder that you guys see on YouTube. I've been in their YouTube videos, been in their Instagram. I've worked on guys on the Golden Knights. I've been the strength and conditioning coach and secondary provider for the Las Vegas Desert Dogs.
That's the lacrosse team here for those of you who don't know.
Lacrosse team here. Sorry, everybody. I also have guys in the PFL, guys in the UFC. I have ultra marathon runners. I have super famous celebrities.
And they're not just coming to get their back cracked. I mean, they're coming.
Absolutely not. I mean, I think some of them are a little bit weirdos and they just want my hands on them. I'm just kidding.
Now I'm creeped out.
I know, right? Yeah, I know. You got to watch out for those people. But then, at the same time though, it's just been such an experience because hearing from all these people, Dr. Beadle, that's just my guy. That's who I go to for everything. Right. And even with my general population, like I love all my patients, but there's a lot that took to get into this, and there's a lot of education, and there's a lot of sacrifices I made at a younger portion of my career to get to where I'm at. And I'm just wanting to get started, you know, like.
Well, I can tell you here's the biggest change that the thing that I never thought I could do that now I'm doing is give myself shots. Dude, I swear to God, we were first doing this and I was like, I'm telling my wife, I'm like, because in my TRT, I always go to a place.
Yeah.
Right. I was always going to a place. And the thing about me was, because I'm so busy, I'm that guy that would like look up at 6:30 on a Friday and go, oh God, missed my shot. No, I don't. And like, so the first time, bro, I had to like psych myself up. I'm like, what? I'm like psyching, and it was like nothing.
Right.
And I'm like, I could totally do this. Like, not a big deal.
It's all about like the preconception of it and the education on it too, right? Because in America, we have this model where it's like, I have to go to the doctor for this. And it's like, actually, if we do it right, we can educate you on how to perform these tasks. And then we could show you how to do it on your own with prescription-based medicine, telehealth medicine, or even in-person medicine, right? So a little bit kind of, I guess, on what you and I have done, right? So you called me on that test. I reviewed it. I'll never forget that day. It was right in between one of my patients. And you're like, I have an urgent question for you.
Yeah, because I was dying of liver cancer. It was an urgent question.
John Gaffer calls, you fucking answer the phone.
I have problems. I had liver cancer.
Calls, you answer the phone. So I answer the phone. I'm like, I'll be right with you 1 second. Answer the phone. We go over your labs. And I'm like, man, I see athletes with their ALT at like 110.
Yeah.
You're good. But looking at a graph like that without education, it's
scary.
Like, oh my God,
super
am
scary.
I dying?
Yeah.
So like with my patients, when I get their labs, I make sure that once I receive your lab, you come in with me. We have a 45-minute appointment. I print off a copy of your lab. We sit in my office. I pull it up on the TV and I call it my Zodiac killer board, my black whiteboard. I go over every single marker top to bottom with them. That way they have an understanding that they don't need to know the chemistry, but they need to understand what's on their lab, what's on that piece of paper when they're going home, and then what we're going to do to help them and where we're going to refer them if necessary.
Well, let's talk about, let's put levels to this thing, if we will.
Do it.
All right. So the first level I want to talk about is I'm talking to you, talking to you out there. And let's say you're in this situation. Let's say, man, right now you're struggling. Right now, economy's got you down. Right now, you're getting beat up by everything. Maybe I don't have the money to go get labs. Maybe I don't have the money to go get, stuff. What are the, like, if you had to pick supplements across the board that people are normally deficient in? I mean, I'm going to guess. I'm going to throw out the ones that I think that everybody should take. I'm going to say 3 of these I think everyone should take, and you tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
I think everybody should take every day liquid vitamin B12. I think everybody should take vitamin D every day. And I think everybody should take magnesium every day. How is that? Am I right or am I wrong about it? You tell me.
I'm going to sound like such a turd.
No, please.
So this correlates to a funny story. So my mom, she's old school RN, right? John, I need B vitamins. And this is how much I care about my patient's dollar and their time. I go, why do you need B vitamins? Well, I think I need them. And I go, well, can we order labs? Because when I have lab work for my patients, I keep my labs just about at the cost that I get it for.
Yeah.
Every single test, whether it's a stool test, urinary analysis, Nutriva, anything, and even blood work, I keep it right around the price that I get it at. So I'm like, Mom, here's the deal. The reason why I don't want to just give you B vitamins right now is because sometimes let's just say, because I'm bad at math, that B vitamin's $100 a month and you've been taking it for 12 months, but you actually didn't need it. And that's just $1,200 right there, where we could have done a $250 blood work test and we figured out what you actually needed based off the individual, right? I think sometimes what happens in podcasts is like, people are like, oh yeah, they talk about amazing science and those studies are so cool, but let's talk about the individual. That's why people want to do that. It's based off the individual, right? So when we could do individual health science, that is a better way of looking at things, right? Because there's some people out there, you tell them to take vitamin D, their vitamin D is over 100, you can start getting vertigo symptoms, right? So I wouldn't want to have someone taking vitamin D. Certain people, if they're on heart medication, and see the people are gonna be like, damn, this chiropractor's talking about this.
No,
but if you're on
point.
If you're on certain heart medications, taking too much magnesium, well, that could kill you. So that's not a good idea. So
listen, old Dr. John, don't take any of that shit. Just eat fast food and
Well, so I'm a little bit of a realist, right? So
all right, fine. Let's be a realist. That was my point.
Right. So like,
I won't be guessing any more medications today, by the way. I'm officially,
John
that was a strong offer. So
Dr. Gafford over here.
I'm going to get a lawsuit because somebody's going to take too much magnesium and die and I'm screwed.
But that stuff is all super beneficial for you too at the same time. And like people on these podcasts, their intentions are to help people. I absolutely get that. But I'm over here and I'm like, I just look at my dad's situation. Like, I don't even want to waste your time or your money. Let's give you what you need based off your labs, but not only what you need, because sometimes what happens when you get these lab results, they send you, your life is already, if you're going to get blood work done, you're probably not feeling well or something's not right, right? Very rarely is it just because, right? And those are normally younger kids and they'll live. They're still like rubber bands basically, right? It's all downhill after 30. But when you get those tests, they give you anywhere from 5 to 10 plus supplements. I did not make your life easier. I just added 5 to 10 more things to someone's life that doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And they also didn't have a lot of time being told what they need. They're just, here you go. Here's this pamphlet. That's just like my dad being dyslexic for some people reading that. They're like, what is this jargon?
Hang on a second. In fairness, the lady was very thorough. When I talked to the lady, she was very thorough before I got to the closer. Good. She was. And I'm not saying that she was not. No, I'm just saying the timing of it was my biggest issue.
Right. And what I'm saying is more so like not even just with like a 10X health thing. Even when you walk into some of these functional medicine clinics, people are just like, whoa, they just use a lot of really big fancy words. And sometimes, I hear it all the time. Like patients are like, I'm scared to ask my medical provider questions. Why? That's what you're paying me for. You're paying me to come in here, ask me questions about your health. Yeah. I'm here to answer them. And if I don't know it, that's such a great question, Mrs. Jones. Let me press pause and let me do some research on that. It's not if it's something that I think is going to harm you right now, I'm going to refer you out right this second. But if it's not, let me just do a little bit of research on this, make sure we're going to be good, and let me do a little bit of a deeper dive into this based off of your case.
So back to my original question. What are the supplements the average Joe that maybe can't afford to do this right now? What should they be taking?
That's a very good question. So personally, this is how I am again. So testing is thought to be very expensive, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's super. Some people are like, oh, don't get testing here. I don't care where you get your testing done. Learn something about your body. There's little tests that you can get at Target for like $40, right? There's little tests, salivary tests for testosterone, anything like that. You can get tests done at Walmart, Target, things like that. You just buy them right off the shelf.
Really?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
That'll show you what your deficiency in vitamins?
Yeah, there's certain tests that can. So I think a true test for that would be more of an organic acid test, which is urine and serum. But again, we're talking about like low-hanging fruit.
This is my level one.
Level one. I think a very good level 1 base would be to but you got to be careful with Dr. Google, right?
Okay, Dr. Google.
I would say if you can afford it, number 1, get into either a provider's office that does either functional medicine or something outside of maybe a primary care health system where you're not actually severely sick, right? But if you can get on Google comfortably, not get freaked out, right, by what you're reading and then understand, well, my headache is not necessarily a brain tumor, but again, you can't rule that in or out, right? Then I would start.
Might be a brain tumor.
I would start off with, I would start off, but it might be. Yeah, I got a funny story about that too. Anyway, so I would start off number 1, water and electrolytes. Those are great, right? And when I say electrolytes, like magnesium, sodium, potassium, but not too much, right? Those electrolyte packets, those would be great. And not even taking the whole electrolyte packet. I would start off with just half of it, right?
Oh God, I drink, they're like the Relight electrolytes?
Yeah, or like the Elements or something.
I bet I drink 6 scoops of that a day.
Okay, well, we do live in Vegas.
Is that probably too much?
I would say that's probably a little too much. I'd have to look at the dosage on it because I don't know.
Because I drink that. I drink the equivalent of a gallon of water with that shit in it every day.
Right. Yeah. So like, it just depends on like the case, right? And it depends on our workload. So like for me, it's really hard for me to answer.
Do I look like I'm sweating up in this?
No, not even close.
I'm not sweating in here.
No, not at all. And that's where it's like, it's hard for me to answer that question because I'm such a stickler about like test, don't guess, right? Even if it is just like an easy, low entry over the counter thing, I'm someone where it's like, if we really want to figure out what you need, like I said, I really value your time and dollars. So instead of, if I were to tell you to go buy 3 supplements right now, that would be probably close to $100, right? If you could find a medical provider or a way to get a blood work test done for $100, that's what I would recommend. So let's talk about the test that I would recommend.
Okay.
A CBC with a differential.
Okay.
A CMP.
Sounds like some shit you found on an 18-wheeler. Got the CBC with a differential.
It might burn to pee with one of those things. Yeah. So CBC with a differential, a CMP. Okay. I would order an insulin. Okay. Because insulin resistance is on the rise, and insulin resistance leads to metabolic syndrome.
Yeah. That's our food killing us.
It's huge. You got to look at that. And I would probably look at, I mean, depending on if you're a female, I'd maybe look at like estradiol, just because then the testing kind of gets a little expensive. And if you're a male, then I'll maybe look and see if you just take a look at your test, right? Because every guy wants to know how their test is, right?
Yeah.
Every guy just wants to know. I would start off with an entry level test within a $100 price range.
Okay.
Once you get that test, while you get the blood work done. So just to kind of run you through like my process, and this is nothing against their process at all by any means, right? Your family's done labs with me, right?
Yeah.
So, you come to see me, you have a 45-minute consult. After that 45-minute consult, I'll send you a lab requisition at the end of the day. You literally walk into a lab core, you're in and out in 5 minutes. I get your results within 4 to 5 business days. And then we get you in.
But again, like if I was going to make one change, like, okay, let's talk about changes I would make for 10X Health just to help them out. Number one, these results should not hit your portal before somebody can talk to you about them.
100% agree with that.
This is exactly why, if you remember, like, what was it? 23andMe, the genetics thing.
Yep.
Right. They got in so much trouble.
Freaks people out.
Because they were just putting stuff up. Like, and they had to stop doing it.
Yeah.
Like they could not put those results up without having, a medical, representative there available to go over them with you. And I think that's something that I would change if I was them.
100% agree. And I think like all forms of medicine, like, man, that would be like, we could use real estate as an example, right? I don't know anything about real estate. That would be like me looking at all my real estate paperwork that I want to pay you guys to do before anything is signed. Cause then I'm like, whoa, what the hell does this mean? I can misinterpret that when you can look at it and be like, John, relax.
Yeah.
That's a no big deal. But to me, I don't understand it. So it would freak me out.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
And then therefore that causes stress within the situation.
Yeah, remember that when you hire a realtor. That's what you're paying. That's what you're paying us for. Right there. That's what you're paying for.
Shut up and let them do their job.
Right there. Let's do our job.
Seriously.
Shut up. There we go. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, like going off that, man, I think low-hanging fruit stuff, it's just hard for me to say just because I won't even give my mom B vitamins unless I say that, just because I don't want her to waste her money. But I would invest that money into a test that you can afford that would give you good answers. Well,
let me shift the question back. Let's go to level 2 then. So obviously it's the same thing. You're getting the test done, and it's just the levels to the game become how much you can afford to do this. And you start out, of course, with level 1 is going to be supplements and maybe TRT, maybe your basic. Then up from there is where it starts getting really expensive. That's where you start getting into peptides. You start getting into human growth hormone, that sort of stuff. All of those things. Here's the question I have with that, right? As a gentleman of relative means, I'll ask, what is it? How am I going to ask this question? So is the dollar cost increase in going from level 1 of you're taking this stuff to jumping into like peptides and human growth hormone, is the dollar cost difference? Does the improvement you get, is it equal to the dollar cost? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, cool.
I love talking about this because I work around a lot of performance enhancing drugs.
Yes.
So
okay.
I know this situation very, very well. So let's kind of go up from those levels, right?
Yeah.
So you come in, you do blood work. Okay. So then we're talking about entry costs into things. So at my office, for example, my overhead, I do everything from people's phone. So I don't charge extra for supplements. I get people professional grade supplements and they're third party tested and they have clinical case studies backing that exact product. What I do, I mean, my Zymogen rep, when he listens to this, they want to kill me because I always put the referral code. I always put the referral code and they're like, hey man, don't you want to make any money on this? And I go, well, no, because I don't stock supplements.
Yeah.
So I don't need to make money on it because I mean, I could.
Yeah.
I think he told me I'm the number 5 provider in the state of Nevada for giving out supplements. However, I'm making $0 on it
because but you also have no inventory, no headache.
Right, I have no inventory, right? Because I figured out how to do it all by phone.
Yeah.
So it's like, because there's resources out there. You just have to work a little bit harder to find those resources and how to.
I think maybe a little bit of a markup would be okay.
You know, see, that's the entrepreneur in you, and I am an entrepreneur.
Well, I'm just saying, anything worth doing is worth doing for money.
See, but that's where people pay me for my time, right? People pay me for my time. You pay me for my time to get you in, to get the information that you need, and then the things you need, you get them at the price that I get them at.
Fair.
Right. So whether that's blood work, specialty.
So it's not like you're not a charity.
No.
Okay.
No, absolutely no.
Just that becomes the fact that you can get those supplements in the blood for free becomes a loss leader to the time value.
Correct. And you know, and that's on me at the end of the day. However, I've only been out of practice I've been in practice for about 4 years now out of school. And I mean, I'm doing everything that I thought I would have done at the end of my career.
Yeah.
And we're exploding, and I'm very thankful and I'm blessed. And I'm not meaning that like we're the biggest clinic in the world, but we have a really happy clientele and we have very, very good retention. Right. And that's what I care about, because people value the experience that they get. So when we get into these levels, right, we order someone's blood work, right? They come in for the initial consult. I figure out what test would be the best test for us to start off at. Once we get the results of that test, patient comes in, we print it off, we go over it with them. Okay, John, here's our results. This is our game plan. All right, brother. So I didn't see anything in here to where we would need to refer you out to a specialist. However, I did notice that your hormones were a little bit low. So this is what I want us to do. I want us, first off, low hanging fruit. I'm going to put you on a dietary recommendation based off of your labs and based off of your lifestyle. Everyone's got to eat, right? And I'm not the person, I mean, you've worked with me. I'm not the person to be like, you need to go to Whole Foods. You need to buy the most expensive everything.
Yeah, it was the low FODMAP thing or whatever it was.
Low FODMAP. Yep. And I'm not here, again, like I've been a patient. I've seen, like my dad, he couldn't afford to do functional medicine. So you have to make things applicable for people because they're already coming to you stressed and not feeling well. So you need to come up with a system for that patient where they can succeed. You need to I want the adherence almost at 100%, not they're showing up at 100% and then them leaving like, well, fuck, I can't afford that. And what do I do now?
Yeah.
Right. So you need to have adherence at 100%. So start off with diet and nutrition. Here's the deal. This is where you need to go. I'm going to refer you out to this person, whether it's Helix, Magnus, or whoever, right? They're going to be able to manage your hormones for you. I don't manage hormones and I don't inject for people. However, I'll make the referral for you to go speak with a company that can do that for you. And you set up an initial patient fee, right? Done. I just help that business within my business, right? And then everyone's winning. The community grows, right? And then when I refer patients, any one of the companies I work with, they know this. I want my patients to have a 5-star service, and I want my patients to get the professional rate that I would get as if I were to be a patient. So my patients are taken care of, right? Because you are a resemblance of me when I send you to someone else's office. So I want to make sure it's applicable for both parties.
Sure.
Okay, you're coming from Dr. Beadle. We're excited to have you. We know that this is going to be a good client and vice versa, right? And this is going to be a good business that we work with. So once we get you to that referral base, if necessary, and we start you off with your diet, man, that's like 75% of the situation that we might have to work with for a large percentage of the
population. And it's so the hardest part though.
It is, but that's why we make it easy, man. How easy was it?
Dude, you want to make it easy, make cookies like good for you. Then that'll be making it easy. Tell her it's like
I have a client and he was telling me about, oh my gosh, I got to figure out the name of, actually it's good I don't remember the name of them because I got a little bit of sweet tooth. They're from Sprouts.
Bro,
I said, show me a picture of those because I was looking at his weight and I go, what the hell are you doing? And I go, what? There's something you're not doing right. Well, he shows me these little cookies. They're like this big. They're delicious.
Yeah,
they're
but you're
clean.
eating 20 of them.
He's eating 6 of them. And I go, that is 800 calories.
Yeah, dude. From these. See, dude,
they're amazing.
I tell you this. Look, I love my kids, but I love them, but they eat like shit. And
they do.
And here's the problem, dude. When I was my son's age, when I was my son's age, I lived, I lived on it. My mom tells us all the time. My mom would go to Sam's Club when I was a kid and she'd buy like the 12-pack of microwave cheeseburgers, the 12-pack of pizzas, the 12-pack of burritos, the 12-pack of chicken sandwiches, and just fill the whole freezer up with microwavable shit.
Yep.
And I would literally just eat. And it was so funny how I would do it, because I'd eat all of one, and I'd eat all of the next, all of the next, and go through it. Kind of like the popsicles where the orange ones were left, you know? That's how I would eat. That's what I ate on my diet was. And my kid, because I could eat anything I wanted, because I just never, it was a hard gainer.
Right.
Like Hayden is now. And my kids just eat like shit. And there's all this stuff in the house. And I keep like trying to beg my wife, please stop buying all this garbage.
Please no. Yeah.
Stop. And then she's like, yeah. And then there's garbage.
Yeah, it's hard. Because
she loves the kids more than she cares about what I weigh. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
She's like, yeah, but I love the kids. You look fine. I don't care.
Absolute sense, man. And it's also crazy because I grew up off the like Jose Olay taquitos and stuff.
But real quick though, as I sit here, no, I'm not blaming my wife for my terrible diet. It'd be very easy for me to say no. I understand that. I get it. But when it's just sitting there,
it's just too convenient.
It's going to inevitably kind of make it into your face.
Especially after a long day.
Yeah, after a long day. Yeah, it is. And dude, God help you if you have a drink or two.
Oh, then you just get even more cooked.
It's worse.
Yep.
And then it's all of a sudden like, well, that just seems like a good idea.
Well, then you're like, well, after a couple drinks, well, you know what? I'll pick it up tomorrow. So I guess I'll just eat like some shit now.
No, when you get home, you're like, did I just really eat it? What was it, plush burger at Aria after this game? Did that just happen? Did I just eat this shit? I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so like with the levels of like growth hormone and peptides.
Yeah, let's move it up.
So now we get past the supplements, or we get past the diet, the entry. Then we get into things like steroid-based hormones, peptides, things like that. So peptides
are the huge new thing. It seems like everybody's talking about peptides right now.
I've been doing peptides. My best friend and I were talking about it. It's so funny because we've been doing peptides since we were in high school. Probably not this. Obviously, weren't doing them properly in high school.
Sure.
But we've been doing them for about 10 years, right? Now they're very, very mainstream, right? So because people have found high value dollar in them, because you can market it or sell it however you want. I'm a firm believer in this. If you need something badly, you should use something stronger to help you out. I.e., if you need to elevate your testosterone, you should probably be on testosterone. Don't worry about doing a peptide-based one, because
just go get the testosterone.
Just put the fucking testosterone in your body. I'm sorry. Like, you just don't be a bitch. Just do the testosterone.
Just do it.
You need your testosterone up. Don't do these guys selling peptides. I think it's awesome. I love peptides. I'm on one right now that makes me tan without being in the sun. Melano tan too. I love it.
I need that. Really? Why am I not on that? I didn't put pasty on my questionnaire, but I mean, let's face it. I mean, yeah.
I got you. I'll bring you a bottle.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, it makes you feel extremely nauseous for 10 minutes.
Nah, I don't need that.
You're going to piss puke.
Nah, that's a problem I don't need.
But you look like a Golden Graham Cracker Crisp for no reason, right? So
that's a problem. I don't know if I need that problem.
So it's all about the resources, though.
Is everything give or take like that? Is everything pretty much give and take?
I mean, though, I think my favorite one is Testosterone. I mean, that one's great.
What does that do?
Basically sheds abdominal fat and can increase your testosterone.
Why am I not on that?
Well, we could talk about that. We got, again, diet process first.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah. So anyway, I know he's going to fire me after this.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not. Look. It's America. We all want the shortcut. Right?
I know.
That's what we want.
Everyone wants it.
You're telling me, okay, every single actress in Hollywood right now is bone skinny, and it ain't because they found spin class.
No, it's definitely not.
It's definitely not. And they all have that hollow, weird Ozempic face now.
Man.
That just hollows them out.
So stuff like semaglutide and like Ozempic.
Yeah, I don't want to be on some shit I'm going to be on forever.
I'm not like a huge proponent of those, right? Because number one, I just don't understand how it would be healthier for someone to decrease their appetite.
Yeah.
And then, yes, they lose weight.
It's also eating muscle mass.
Well, Ozempic and like semaglutide are really good for like very obese people.
Yeah.
Or people that have actual insulin resistance, or people that actually have type 2 diabetes. Not someone that or like higher middle class or upper class.
Didn't get cast in the role she wanted last month.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden the paparazzi aren't popping off this much.
Exactly. Because it's like, again, it's just, they know that they could sell it, and it's a good ticket to sell. So,
but you're on it forever.
Exactly. It will also.
I gotta tell you, I gotta tell you, one of the main reasons that I got over my shot fear, right, of giving myself shots, was the place. I won't name who it was. They're nice people. I like them.
Great people.
But the place in town where I was getting my testosterone shots started doing that. Mm-hmm. And it went from, on a busy time I'd go in there, kind of look like maybe Thursday night at free beer night at the Elks Lodge.
Yeah.
Be like 8 dudes in there waiting to get their shots, and that was fine. Yeah. And now you go in there and it's like 40 suburban overweight housewives deep. And I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to get my,
I just want my test.
It says men on the front of this place. And here we are. And I'm waiting for this. Like, I don't have time to wait for all these people.
Right.
Like what was an easy in and out in a couple of minutes became sit here for 25, 30 minutes waiting on your turn because all these people are getting those epic shots.
And seeing that's the thing too. That's like with my model, right? And I'm not saying my model.
God bless them. They're killing it financially.
They're
but
amazing.
It's not for me.
And I love all those. And I love all forms of medicine that people want that will help them.
Yeah.
I fully support that. You know, my business model is more about enhancing the patient's experience and decreasing the amount of time that they need to get the things that can get them in the process and the direction that they need to go.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Not that dropping the weight right away, but hey man, you know what? I don't want to drive to go get my testosterone shot. I don't quite feel the way that I feel that I want to feel. And it's not that you need to do ample amounts of testosterone.
Mm-hmm.
However, if I said, hey, this is back to this supplement thing, the level 1 thing. Hey, I want you to take 100 milligrams of test. And I've been on it for 10 years. Would you be like, if you gave someone the same advice for 10 years, would you be like, damn, this is literally the same thing. Why the hell am I saying the same thing over and over again for 10 years? It doesn't make sense, right? And it's all about the reevaluation because then it's just, okay, you're just collecting, right? And my thing is, I want you feeling better. I want you out of my office because humans are the best billboard. And I want you to go tell your friends, hey, you need to go see that Dr. Beadle guy right now.
Talk to this
it took me 6 months. Go see him. He put me on a good process. Just listen to him. He'll fix you.
Well, I can definitely tell you, like with the shots, the one thing that I like the most about what I'm doing now versus what I used to do is rather than doing a full dose once a week, splitting up in half twice a week. So I seem to be much more even keel with that.
Yep, absolutely. So like the thing,
I like that a lot.
Yeah, and so this is also the thing with peptides, growth hormones, testosterone based, like steroid based supplements, right? So I just saw a study the other day that our body can only take 146 milligrams of test. And then after past that,
just burn it off.
You just burn it off, right? Now, unless you're trying to perform at maybe like in some form of competition, yeah, you'd probably need to increase more because you are increasing your exercise volume and your workload.
Maybe the Nathan's hot dog eating contest would be a competition I could compete at this point.
Actually, we could give them a ghrelin peptide where they feel hungrier. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, God, that'd be pretty funny. I hope they're not doing that. We just ruined it for them.
Well, I can definitely say the dude, I mean, we've been doing this now for like 6 weeks, however long it's been since I started doing all this stuff. And I can definitely say that, you know, my weight is not necessarily down. The fat percentage has definitely changed. I'm still probably walking around. I mean, I'm a pretty big dude for those of you who never seen me. People that see me in person for the first time are like, man, you're a big dude. I'm like, I'm like sick, but I'm walking around like 6'4", 229 right now, which I'd like to be walking around 6'4" just for the sake of the knees that have been taking a beating over my entire life. I'd like to be walking around like 6'4", 210 maybe would be good.
Great weight for you.
Would be good. And I've noticed that since I've been working hard, like my suits are not fitting shoulder wise, chest wise. I'm like, maybe lifting too heavy, maybe need to slow that down a little bit. I think I think every man's gold standard anymore for what they want to look like. What is the gold standard when people tell you?
Gosh.
What's the gold standard?
Well, it's
because I've heard it a million times from different guys.
You tell me yours and I'll take
Brad Pitt in Fight Club. Yeah. That's the gold standard.
I have a patient that actually.
Have you heard that?
Like Brad Pitt, and Bradley Cooper.
Brad Pitt Fight Club.
Yeah,
that is the standard.
Don't talk about Fight Club, but yeah, I get
it. That's the standard. That's the standard.
That is.
Probably at 52 years old, probably the unattainable standard, but I'm going to try. I'm going to die trying.
Well, we can make that, and that's the thing too. I always tell my patients at first that the numbers that move are the inches.
Yeah.
Right. The inches around the waist, the neck, the chest, the belly button.
Yeah.
I have you measure every single time. Right. Like I have one patient that, and this is one person I kind of broke my rule with. And like, this is one thing that I'm going to start doing with you now that I'm out of lacrosse season. Right. And I have time to actually breathe a little bit and finish the Institute of Functional Medicine. But he came into my office and his goal, he wanted to do a Ironman triathlon. He is an absolute beast. He's 50 plus and he was almost 300 pounds. And he came into me and I measured him. He was at 268 when he first started. Okay. And I said, you have 7 weeks to do.
How tall was he?
He's right around your height. He's probably like 6'2", 6'3".
All right, got it.
He's a large dude. He used to be a U.S. Olympic skier. And I started off with him and I was like, man, like, I just told him, I was like, okay, do you mentally, are you ready to do something like this? And he's like, I'm ready, and I need to do this because
it's trying to run an Ironman.
It's going to save my life. And you know what he did?
What did he do? He
lost 37 pounds with me. We hardly used, and we used testosterone. I did a blood test, a stool test, put him on a diet, prescriptive diet, and then I put him on professional grade supplements. Mm-hmm. And we worked out only 3 days a week. Okay. And then he got an Ironman triathlon trainer. This guy finished the race, lost like 37 pounds, and he's ready to do more. He's training for his next one.
Dude, buddy of mine, Brady McDonald, shout out to you, Brady, if you're listening to this, just did an ultra Ironman. You heard of these lunatics?
So are those the one where they swim, bike, run? Dude, or what's an ultra?
No, okay, let's. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing.
Because I'm like,
no, dude, this is insane. So an ultra Ironman, he just did this. So it's ultra triathlon, ultra Ironman. Yeah, 3-day race. Ready? 320 miles is what this is.
Oh my God.
Yeah, hang on a minute. I'm going to see exactly what it is. The Ultra World Championships. Your goal to the ultra triathlon. It's so stupid. I mean, this is insanity what these guys do.
Oh, it's wild.
It's like, I just don't want to say the wrong thing. It's ultra triathlon races. So I think the road race is like 224 miles. The run is 52 miles and the swim is 4.8 miles.
Like, how do you just wake up one day and you're like, I'm just going to crush my body, I'm going to have fun doing it.
Because I have a couple different friends that do like these ultra marathons, 100 milers.
Yeah.
And they all say the same thing about it, which is they're like, it's not a matter of if it hurts or when it hurts. It just gets to a point where can I endure the pain?
Right. And are you going to finish?
Like it doesn't hurt at a certain point. You don't hurt any worse.
Yeah.
You just hurt.
You just embrace the suck. Like I tell the kids I used to coach, embrace the suck. Yeah. This is going to suck. It's supposed to suck, but we're going to win and we're going to feel good after we win too.
Dude, and for the record, best middle school lacrosse team in the history of middle school lacrosse. Yeah, if it hadn't got broken up by a bunch of politicking nonsense, would easily be hanging banners at every school right
every
now.
Single school.
At every school right
now.
So
proud of all those kids. Seriously, love those kids.
I'm thankful. I'm so grateful that I got to be a part of that, watching my son play with that group.
That was such a great experience. It was like a movie.
It was great.
It felt like a new, like an Orange County housewife show.
Yeah, I'll just never forget being at a tournament in where we were, California, where we were, Northern California, and just beating the tar out of those all-star teams.
Yep, absolutely.
And the dad's like standing there like watching, like, what year are these kids? And I'm like, yeah, that kid right there is in 7th grade. It's like, what? I'm like, yeah. They're like, so this is an all-star team? No, it's a rec team.
Just 25 kids.
Just a rec team.
Jason and I didn't accept any new kids. All these kids in Las Vegas Valley wanted to be with us. And I'll never forget the first day I started coaching there when Connor Morgan let me take over. And I said, those of you that stay, we're going to go very far. Yeah. And you guys, it's going to suck, but it's going to be worth it at the end. And you all are going to be young men by the end of this.
So do the same.
They did it. And man, it's great.
They did it.
They're all dogs too.
Now you're coaching me to be a young man, which I appreciate. And I need all the help I can get at this point. So guys, that's kind of my advice. Beedle, if they want to find you, and if you're not in Vegas, obviously, but you can kind of do this by phone though.
Yeah, actually. So we work in Minneapolis right now. So we're working with if you guys ever need an online trainer too, I've got a plethora of them, athletes, anything, you guys name it. I have tons of that stuff. Any resources you need, please reach out to our office. I do a lot of complimentary stuff.
How do they find you?
Just find my Instagram would be the best thing, or go to genesisintegratedmedicine.com.
genesisintegratedmedicine.com.
Yes, sir. Yep.
It's a triple Scrabble score
so
for that
long,
one, buddy.
Trust me, I've already been roasted about it. But
what's the Instagram?
Instagram is going to be Dr. John Beadle.
JON.
JOHN.
Oh, JH with an H.
Yep.
Dr.
DRJOHN BEEDLE.
Beedle with a D, not Beetle like
Beetle.
The bug.
Yes, correct. Correct. Yes.
All right, dude. Well, man, I appreciate you coming in. And again, I hope if you're listening to this, man, it inspires you to go get a blood test, find somebody locally to work with. You don't have to go for the flashiest, greatest thing to get incredible results, especially when it comes to your health.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with
that. So look, you can't just, especially when it comes to your health. We talk about success here a lot. I mean, it says right here on the board behind me, life, money, success. This circle, the big life one. There's a lot of things that you can monkey around with, but I promise you, really sick people only want one thing, and that's to be healthy. So don't take your health for granted. Don't drift along with the currents of life. In that regard, especially, you got to do something, man. You got to take care of yourselves. All right, cool. Well, I'll see you guys next week for another episode, Escaping the Drift. What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us for another episode of Escaping the Drift. Hope you got a bunch out of it, or at least as much as I did out of it. Anyway, if you want to learn more about the show, you can always go over to escapingthedrift.com. You can join our mailing list. But do me a favor, if you wouldn't mind, throw up that 5-star review, give us a share, do something, man. We're here for you. Hopefully you'll be here for us. But anyway, in the meantime, we will see you at the next episode.